music. Greetings, everyone. Hey, we finally have some happy, sexy health tonight. But before then, hi, everybody. My name is G Brown, G Brown, the lifestyle changer. And we come to you every Monday and we try to let you know how to live your best life. But before we start, let me let you see this was me. So as we're talking, we're not picking on you, we're not shaming you. That was me on the standard American diet. Then I went to be a vegan for 4.5 years. And that is all of the weight I lost. And if you can look right there to the right, that is me as a carnivore. Here I am. Robin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, everybody. My name is Robin Heron, and I am your carnivorous grandma. Coach Robin to everyone.
Yes.
Again, just like G said, that we are here every week talking about this amazing sugar-free lifestyle. I'm going to show just one of my pictures right here so that you guys can see where I'm coming from. This is eczema. And what I didn't realize at the time was that is insulin resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always walked around with 2 black eyes and a dark circle around my mouth, no matter how big or small I was. The game changer for me was carnivore. So we are super excited tonight to be here with our new friend, Stephanie from the UK. Hey, Stephanie.
Hello, Robin. Hi, G.
Hi.
Yes, a special treat to have you here with us tonight. And we always are talking about what's broken in health, but tonight we are going to celebrate you. And we're excited because you have built your brand on joy, freedom, and confidence. You are the voice behind Happy Sexy Health, which we absolutely love that name title. But I also saw that you have a sister.
I do have a sister.
Tell us about that too, because I've been seeing you kind of making the rounds on some of the different talk shows. And so why don't you go ahead and tell us, just introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah. So I'm Stephanie Taylor. And as you said, we have a channel. I do run it with my sister, Nikki, and it's called Happy Sexy Health. And what that is about, which you picked up on straight away, it's about leading this joyful life, experiencing the joy and vitality that is sexiness, not just the sexy, but the enjoyment of the world, enjoyment of life, enjoyment of people, enjoyment of our own bodies. It's that kind of sexiness and the healthy glow that we all, of course, get from carnivore. And I'm sure that during tonight's discussion, we'll get into how we first got into this and why we went on this incredible journey.
Absolutely. So G, I'm going to transition to you.
Okay. Well, actually, we're going to stay focused on Stephanie because we're so excited that you here. And for those who don't know you yet, because we were doing a little chatting before we came on. I can't wait for you guys to see her pictures, and don't let me be a spoiler alert. Okay. So stay tuned because she showed us something and I was like, oh, that's not bad. And then, honey, I saw the other one. So for those that don't know or anything about you, because you are fresh and new to me, go ahead and let us know what you are all about.
Thank you, G. And Robin, it's so good to be here. It's so good to spread the word. And as Black women, especially in the UK, and I know it's similar in America, that Black women across all ethnic groups have become the sickest, the most likely to have type 2 diabetes, the most likely to be overweight, the most likely to suffer from other chronic diseases. So I really love being out here to spread the word to everyone, but in particular to our sisters, that there is another way to do things. And we have all been there. We have been there on that front line of, overweight, of chronic disease, of fatigue, of trying everything, and the incredible frustration that comes from doing what you're advised to do is healthy and finding that you just get sicker and sicker and fatter and fatter. So going back to my own story, from a teenager, I struggled with my weight, and looking back now, I can see the clues, because as a kid, I used to go in the pantry, or you may call it the larder. Remember, we used to have those, a separate little room, and eat sugar out the bowl. I used to eat sugar out of the bowl. So looking back, there were all these little clues that something wasn't quite right with me. But also, I was quite an allergic child. I had eczema and asthma. They kind of go together as that little trio. Oh, you had the eczema as well, Robin, and you're looking like you know what I'm talking about, G. And it would be that time, it was on the back of my knees. I would sometimes scratch myself to sleep and scratch myself in my sleep and wake up with blood on the sheets, and it would be on my arms. I had terrible hay fever, and I would sometimes wake up with a huge eye that was just totally blown up, and you couldn't hardly see out. One time I went to school with something like a pirate's mask on it, because anyway. So, but apart from that, that sounds like quite a lot, but apart from that, I was absolutely fine. And I played every kind of sport. I just got through it. When you're a kid, you're resilient. We did not know so much in those days, the 70s, about, I'm sure some people did, but our family did not know about allergies and this and that and the next thing. We did not know. And so I think obviously it's something in the food. Also, we had pets, so that didn't help me on the allergic side. But as I grew older, I then started to struggle on the weight front, and I tried every kind of diet. But apart from the weight, I thought I was healthy, and I was on this constant quest. I was not taking this lying down. I tried all of these things. I'd lose the weight. I was the classical yo-yo dieter. I'd lose the weight, feel amazing, and then put it all back on again. And I started to lose so much trust in myself that I started to feel, why was I doing this? Because if I put so much effort into it, so much energy into it, it takes so much emotion, as well as all the practical things you have to do to stick to these crazy diets. And it took so much to do it, and then only to end up where you were originally, or worse. I had to ask myself one day, should I just give this thing up and just be happy to be fat and just leave it at that? Many people are happy being fat, and why not just be happy and get on with your life? Because if you're going to be fat anyway, why put the effort in between? And I reflected on it, and then I thought, do you know what? No, it's not for you. I feel that if some people can do this, maybe there is a way. Keep trying.
Yeah.
And so I made up a way of eating that I thought was healthy, and said, just stick to this and do your best. So I thought fruit and vegetables is healthy, especially vegetables. I knew that maybe fruit should be limited. So I decided I was going to have 2 meals a day, because I wasn't that active. And also I wanted to limit, I thought 3 meals would be too much. 2 meals a day, heap on all the vegetables, which I loved, caramelized red onions and all of these things, all heaped up, spinach galore, cauliflower, broccoli, all of the things. And I loved it. And I would put that with, I knew that you were supposed to have some protein, but not meat, because that's not good for you, but eggs. So I'd have eggs and veg for breakfast, and then I had spinach and chickpeas and all this malarkey for lunch, with things all on top of it. And anyway, Then in 2022, I started to get this terrible fatigue, this incredible tiredness that was just like a cloud over my head. I was still carrying on my affairs and going out and doing this and that, but I was tired. I was tired. I was dragging myself up the stairs. And I was one of those smug people who used to get up early. And I used to get up at 5:45 a.m. and I used to be at the hot yoga place by 6:15 a.m. And I used to say, I go to the early session, it's not so busy then, got the whole place to yourself. Anyway, during this fatigue, I said, no, get yourself up, get up and going. But my get up and go had got up and gone. And I could not get myself. I just said to myself, Stephanie, your body's trying to tell you something. These days of 5:45 are over. You need to stay in your bed. And so that was the beginnings of when this all started to go wrong health-wise, that it came to my, conscious knowledge, you are not a well woman. And I did not know where to start with this because I didn't really see doctors very often. And I didn't know what to do, but I remembered that, I had fibroids diagnosed in 2018. And in 2018, when I was diagnosed with the fibroids, they said, you don't need to do anything unless the symptoms are really bad. And when you go into the menopause, which was maybe, 5 years away, they'll go. So I thought to myself, I don't think fibroids are normal. I mean, they are normal in the fact that 80% of women, by the time they get to their 50s, have them.
Yes.
It used to be that it was a lot more Black women who have them, but actually now it's 80% of all women, by the time they get to their 50s, will have fibroids. Many will be asymptomatic, i.e. no symptoms, but mine were not asymptomatic at all. They were not painful, but they were big, they were bulging, and the bleeding was very heavy. And at the beginning, I tried different things to get rid of them. The first one being no red meats, which is ironic because it's the opposite of what would actually work, because they're a symptom of chronically high blood sugar.
Right.
And I didn't know that. And I Googled and Googled. So this information is kind of hidden. You have to sort of know what you're looking for almost to find it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I knew that I had these fibroids. So something told me, and that's where I just think your intuition, I was not very tuned in with my body, but still something told me, well, first of all, I know you've got to go to the doctor with a symptom. If you just say tired, you're not going to come out with anything meaningful. So I went and I asked, I didn't even see the doctor. I just realized I needed to see what was happening with the fibroids. So I booked an appointment with the nurse and I explained my situation. And I said I would like to get an ultrasound scan to see what's going on so we can update. And I got the ultrasound scan and they said there's 2 growths on your ovaries that they were wanting to investigate further. And so I knew straight away. I think they said it could be cancer. I can't remember, but I knew it was cancer because of the symptoms I was experiencing. Because that tiredness, you realize it's almost like a parasite then, because it's taking the energy, it's taking the sustenance and all of that. And so that was how it all kicked off in October of, I can't believe it, actually. No, October of 2023. Yes, that's right. October of 2023. That's when it all started.
So can I show that one picture that you shared with us on the side?
Yes. Show that picture. So what happened here was between December 2023, because I was being diagnosed, I had a biopsy. So remember, I've had this issue. I must have had the cancer before, And then after the biopsy in the January, between the January and the March, that's what happened to my belly. And actually, that's not a great picture of it because it looks as if I was just about to pop and give birth at any moment. It looked as though, honestly, people were congratulating me in the street, and all of that. When you due? Is it your first baby? And all of this kind of thing. And it was like that thing, that Alien, the film. That's how I felt, because something is growing inside, and you can literally see it every day getting bigger.
You know, this is so interesting because a lot of women are walking around like this, not pregnant, but looking pregnant. And that is, I think that we need to denormalize that, right? That's not a normal state of being. There's something going on inside, be it fibroids or maybe some fatty organs, things like that are going on inside of the body that we need to think about and consider that this is not a normal state of being. And I love the fact that you were able to, self-identify, like something is not right here. Something is just definitely not right here, and then go and get checked out. And the other thing that you said that really profoundly, kind of impacted me was the idea of being fat and happy. Because I've had people in my family tell me this, like, I will never do this because I want to be happy. And I'm like, well, are you happy? Are you happy though? So, it's being able to continue to feed those addictions, really, that we want to do and we love to do. It feels so good. We get that dopamine hit every time, and it feels great, which feels like happiness. But when you come down off of that, you're not actually happier by having those things in your way of eating that are causing damage to your body.
No.
Okay. I know, because you said something that brought up a real memory for me. When you just said, I'm going to accept it, that this is how I am, and just kind of live with it. And on that picture, I showed this one of like my husband and I over here on the left. That's exactly what I said. This man loves me. I'm not going anywhere. All the roles he was fine with. And I remember just saying, forget it. Because what I didn't want to do was diet and exercise. It was hard enough getting up, walking on my feet. And now you're telling me I need to actually go to a gym. And, and then if you go to the gym, you want to put on a little something cute or something, you just want to flop up in there. And I really felt like this is what you were supposed to do. Go to the gym, work out, and eat the vegetables. Somewhere we have vegans like up here at the top of the food chain, thinking like, okay, I'm not ready yet, but I will. I was a great food manipulator. So I just felt like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and be vegan. You touched a part of me just then where actually now looking back, I was giving up.
Yeah.
I was giving up. I had a man that loved me that wasn't going anywhere. My kids, my family, not realizing I was on the road. I consider it selfish that eventually they were going to have to take care of me. Your body cannot maintain like that. They will have to take care of you. Next, you might have needed a surgery. I see people, maybe you feel more comfortable gravitating on a walker. Some people, oxygen. There was going to continuously be a breaking down of your body, whether it was pre-diabetes, which there's no such thing. You diabetic, you're insulin resistant. And we start accepting this. And then, well, my mom passed away of this, my sister have this. No, you guys are eating the same food. It can't be that simple, because in order for you to accept what we are trying to share with you, there's a realization that we're guinea pigs. You are a dollar sign to the industry. And so for you to accept that you have to look back and think of, because I'm speaking for myself right now, my daughter that died in my arms at the age of 30 did not have to go. My mother did not have to leave here. None of okay, we're all gonna die. But they didn't have to have these slow deaths where we were watching their bodies break apart. Are you okay today? What do you need? That becomes your life. Her children had to see that. So I now have to say that my mother and daughter lost their lives over a plate. Over things that you were telling us that was okay for us in that acceptable amount. And it really isn't. And it hurts my heart that I have to convince you to change, that you are willing to allow your body to continue to break down, all because it tastes good. I understand that. I didn't get big overnight. I stayed up there for a while because you hit it. I gave up. I gave up.
But it's a logical decision. It's a logical decision.
Yeah.
Because if we're putting in the effort and we're ending up worse off, it's logical to say, why put in the effort, because I'm ending up here anyway.
Right, because the food tastes good.
The food tastes very good. But this is when I changed, was when I realized, because when you're eating it, you think that the only thing that's going wrong is you're going to get fat, and you're going to feel a bit worse because you're too fat. You don't necessarily realize the chronic disease avalanche that's going to come upon you, whether it's 5 years in, 10 years in, 15 years in, 20 years in. Some people last 30 and 35 years before the diseases fall upon them. So what persuaded me about this eating is the simple biology that I don't know if you would say is hidden, but certainly it's not advertised, it's not promoted, but the biology being all of the essential nutrients that humans need. What foods are they in? They're all in essential amino acids, proteins, animal proteins, essential fatty acids, animal fats. And I'm specifying animal proteins and animal fats because those are the proteins and the fats that we need. And all of the essential nutrients are in those two macronutrients. Right. They're not in carbs. So when we look at the thing and it says eat 60 or 70% carbs, 3/4 of your plate as carbs, only have the tiniest, merest bit of meat, don't put any fat on it, don't even bother with red meat, cut the skin off the chicken, all the rest of it. We're cutting out the majority of the nutrients. And what is healthy eating? Healthy eating is eating the nutrients you require to thrive as a human, not as a rabbit, not as a cow, not as a goat. Is what we need as a human. And so that simple biology that I've just said is the truth. So if we want to eat the most nutritious diet, we have to prioritize those foods that have got the nutrients we need. And it's as simple as that.
Yes. Absolutely. Totally agree with you on that. That, it's the food pyramid. It's the I don't know, the propaganda, I guess I'll call
Yeah,
it, that
propaganda.
we have been taught from childhood about this food pyramid that we need to eat all these breads and rice and pasta. The whole bottom layer of that food pyramid is what is causing our chronic disease. It's like, and then sugar, the sugars. So it is very, you know, it's a mindset shift, and I love when I hear thinking people say, I had this thought about it, like, I thought that something was wrong with the way that we were eating, because when I look at the biology of it, it doesn't make sense for us to eat all these carbohydrates, and so I love that.
Yeah, and then go on.
No, because I wanted to know, can I show the one picture of you? I love visuals. So
Yeah, yeah, good. Go ahead, go
yes,
ahead.
I want to start with this one.
But I have to say, in that one, I actually look so much slimmer than I am. I think we need to see on the side version. I haven't got that here for you. But
No, you don't.
if I was, when I was, my biggest was a US size 24, and that's the size 20 in the UK. And I carried a lot of extra weight and also had a lot of issues just with not feeling good, as well as physically, just mentally. Just I didn't even realize that I had, anxiety, lack of focus, difficult to get things done. I used to still get things done, don't get me wrong, but
Mhm.
it's much easier now when I'm now putting petrol in a petrol engine instead of putting diesel in the petrol car, and the car maybe still moves, but it's not going anywhere fast. And it's also does not feel good. And I think that's what it's like when we're eating the non-human foods as a human. Um,
That's it.
non
Let me let
non
me look. Let me show you next picture.
Yes.
Okay.
The second picture, this picture was taken a couple of weeks ago when I went to Mallorca with some friends. And as you can see, I'm in the hotel room, just getting ready to go to the beach. And it's like a different woman, because you could imagine I would not have been going. I know that I would not have been happy with a bikini situation in the previous photograph.
Mm,
And
mhm.
now it's not only the body that's changed, it's the whole vitality of attitude, of enjoyment of life, of fun, of every part of it has changed. Like, you women know what I'm talking about. You just literally look like a different person, but also you feel like a different person, even though you're older. Because,
Mhm.
I'm 54 now, and I feel better than when I was 34 and 44. So
It's
Absolutely.
aging backwards. That I shared that with someone today. It is aging backwards. The way you feel in your clothes, and clothes let anybody wear them. Okay, let me just say that clothes will let anybody wear them.
yeah.
Sometimes it look like you wearing them or they wearing you. I don't know. And I
Mhm.
was I was guilty of that. You find where you're just going to put things on. I did not have low self-esteem at all. I did not. And I am, because it got to the point where I just embraced who I was.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm not going to mistreat me. I'm just, this is it. This is who God made me. This is the shape. No, we ain't finna put that off on God. We just not. We just not. Because I did. I blamed him for a lot of stuff. I'll say again, it takes a lot for you to really realize it's the food. I shared with someone today, I said, we were taught a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. But if I
Mhm.
say to you that you were actually passing him a casket, and then you're like, no,
Mhm.
yes, because our lack of knowledge, we're just doing what my grandmama made this recipe and so on and so forth. And it goes back and back. And then you add your twist to it. And we do. It was never meant to be. And that's the hard part, that you, audience, must hear what we're saying. We've shown you pictures. We've been there. Robin didn't show the pictures of her hands. Her hands blistered to the point they could not get her fingerprints. You know
Yeah.
that has to be really something else, that you couldn't
Yes.
have a fingerprint done.
Yes. Yes.
It was really something else.
Yeah, it's amazing how resilient our body is, because you're wonderfully made. And in the midst of everything that we're still getting, you're still here, and you wake up blessed with another day. But a lot of you are so miserable. You don't want to get out and even do a basic walk. Been there, done that. Okay. Do you know how many times you done started and stopped walking? It's like you might have a walking partner and you're out. I say give it 2 weeks. Yeah, because if you don't line up your food with it, it's like you just setting yourself up for failure. But somewhere you just feel that you cannot let that bread go. You cannot. Some of you actually sell cakes and pies. That's like your livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
So that means what? You don't want to give that up. And I understand that. It's a slow, agonizing death. I
It's
want
it's
you here for your family.
it's horrific.
Go ahead.
And every mouthful you're taking it closer, which bring me up to the next next part of the story. So I was diagnosed with this stage 4 ovarian cancer, and it was metastasized from my ovaries. It was on my liver, my spleen, my kidneys. I'm quite proud of it. It's all the places it is. The omentum, the bowel, so it was all spread out in there, relaxing, laying back on easy chairs. And
Mm-hmm.
I went to look it up, and it said that um, the prognosis in 5 years in Cancer UK, and I'm sure they do a similar thing in America. It says how long you're likely to live. 5 years from diagnosis, what percentage of people will be dead within that time period?
Wow.
And for mine, it said 85% of women with my diagnosis would be dead within 5 years of diagnosis. So obviously, that was not a good prognosis, and only 15% or still would be alive within that timeline. So I don't want to make out that I was just laughing and skipping like now. I was devastated because
Yes.
I've got an adult son, Alex. I've not had any grandchildren yet. I do inquire about it on a regular basis, but I've not been blessed in that way. And I want to be there and see the grandkids if I'm so lucky as to get any. And my sister, I see nearly every day, and you just anticipate you're going to be little old ladies still arguing about the same the same the same things. And that my mom is moving to be nearer to Nikki and I in a
Nice.
couple of years, and the three of us will be like three little old ladies. uh, so it was very upsetting. But that was one thing where everyone has to handle it their own way. But what I found helpful is to accept. So some people find that they do best. And I've heard from many cancer survivors who say that they just never took it on board that they could die. They never believed it. They just thought that's how it worked for them. But I find that whenever I tried to say, I'm not going to die, I didn't believe it because it didn't feel like the truth to me. So, but what I found has helped me, and it gave me a lot of anxiety of like arguing against it. That so what I found worked for me was to accept that maybe I will die sooner than I had, anticipated or thought or hoped or whatever the word is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay, and that everyone will be okay. And that, because I was worried, what's my son going to do without me to ask him about the grandbabies and things like that.
No, that's
And
beautiful what you're saying.
Yeah.
I want people in the audience. I think about dads that will never walk their daughters down the aisle. I think about parents that won't get a chance to meet their grandchild or even their great grandchild. I think about those things. I think about what type of grandfather will you be, always sitting in a chair, can't do anything, and just kind of rocking, and you actually fall asleep because your stomach is so big that when you go to lay back, it's almost suffocating you. Same thing, women with our breast and our stomach. There isn't a comfortable position. It's like you're rolling and you're doing these different things. You're trying to find some ease. And like I said, so many people just fall asleep in a chair. You go out and we can still see the lines on your face from sleep apnea. That means, listen to what I'm saying. You stopped breathing while you were asleep. Listen to me. You stopped breathing multiple times. And I'm telling you, it's what you are eating. But instead of changing that, you prefer to strap a mask on and cross your fingers and hope you wake up tomorrow. But you have people that need you. There is a conversation that needs to be had that only you have the answer for. But then you're not here. And then people have to sit around and reminisce. I know, because I go through this for myself, that I'm reminiscing. Oh, do you remember when, like my daughter, when you remember, oh my gosh, she was so funny. Y'all remember when she did this? I didn't know this information. We come on here and we share this with you. This is real. This is not for play. You have to let it go. You have to let it go.
So tell me, Stephanie, with your diagnosis and everything, have you seen any changes now that you've changed your dietary pattern?
Yeah, well, it's quite, as you probably gleaned from the prognosis, it's quite an aggressive form, or it's prone to recurrence, this type of cancer. And what often happens is that the chemo stops working. I've been lucky so far in that the chemo has worked very effectively. It has recurred, even so, but the longer I'm doing carnivore, the more I'm learning about how to do it effectively for cancer and to get into a therapeutic state of ketosis.
Yes.
Which requires, for me, I've now found out how much I can eat and remain with a low GKI, glucose ketones index, like Professor Thomas Seyfried has said.
Yes.
And the other thing I'm starting to experiment with now is dry fasting.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Water fasting is said to be very therapeutic for cancer, but I have struggled with it. But dry fasting is supposed to be much more effective, go into a deeper state of healing. And there's a really interesting book about it, which says that when you are not intaking any water, your body will produce its own metabolic water from the fat cells. And actually, that the fat cells, which normally it's very thrifty with, because it likes to hang on to the fat cells to get you through any bad moments and to keep you alive, it starts to be less thrifty and just let the fat cells go, because obviously water's more important.
Right.
And that's why they say 3 to 7 days dry fasting for some of these stickier conditions like cancer especially when one's a tricky cancer, can be quite therapeutic. So I've only started this recently. I've done my first 24-hour dry fast.
Wow.
Have you tried dry fasting yourself, or?
I have tried dry fasting, and it's been a very long time since I've done it, because it was more like a church type of a thing where we weren't having water for a period of time, but not even 24 hours, maybe more like 16 or 18 hours of dry fasting. So it's been a long time since I've done it, though. It's a tough thing to do, actually. I found.
Yeah, I think. What about you, G?
I'm drinking water right now during the show.
Well, here's a way if people want to start and if people read the book and find it interesting. It's by August Dunning, and it's called The Phoenix Protocol, or The Phoenix Protocol, and it's on Amazon. It's quite a thin book, and it explains it mostly in lay terms, but there is some sciencey bits. But it's quite an easy read, but it's very interesting. So if people want to try a bit and they haven't got a serious illness, I think one thing to consider is that the same way that we now eat and stop, like we have a time of day that we don't eat after whatever time that we stop eating, it would be quite easy to consider that, okay, I have a time I stop drinking before bed, and I don't drink anything until the evening. And I let myself experience a little bit of thirst at first, because you know that you can drink all the water you want tomorrow during your drinking hours. Because when I considered it, I thought it's very unlikely that we were drinking every single hour that we were awake.
Very true.
And because some of the healing benefits of fasting are well known, water fasting, and some of these healing benefits of dry fasting, I think it engages more into your, well, so it says in the book as well, I'm not making it up, deeper healing. You get into deeper levels of autophagy more quickly on a dry fast. So it says that 1 day of dry fasting is equivalent to 3 days of water fasting. That's what they say. I don't know if there's truth in that.
I've been hearing that also. Yep, I've been hearing that same thing also.
We do have a question really quickly. There you go.
Yeah. Well, we know George Goodenough. George Goodenough of Good Enough for You, and he has been a great friend to me since I started with Carnivore and gone online. And George organized the first Great British Meetup this year in June in the UK, where we don't have all the meetups that you guys have in America. And it's a much smaller place, a much smaller community, fewer carnivores. So it's exciting. So thanks for the question, George. And George wants to know how I feel now. Am I always tired after the treatment? Well, I had a recurrence and I've been having treatment this year, and I feel amazing. I feel the best I have in donkey's years.
That's awesome.
And that's why I say to people as well that there's I want to say a million things at once, but what I'll say first is that the chemo we know is very toxic. And so I was hopeful before I started chemo that I wouldn't need chemo because of this way of eating. And I was also doing other therapies like hyperbaric oxygen. I hired a oxygen tent and everything, and was going in it twice a day. I got myself a little home infrared sauna, and I was going in that every day. But that didn't stop it, because as you saw, it just blew up. And when I had the chemo, because I was eating this way, I didn't fast. Emotionally, psychologically, whatever, I could not, or I did not, whatever reason, could not get myself to do it consistently. So, but thankfully, I was not fueling up my body with the sugar. And because of the way I'm eating, I think that's why I feel so good and look so good.
You look
And
amazing.
thank you. And it's just, it blows my mind that I've still got it, that still the cancer's still there. So that's the other thing I wanted to say to people is that we don't know. I can't say to you, because I'm eating a low carb diet, that I'm necessarily going to outlive my prognosis.
Mm.
But what I do know for an absolute fact is when I was eating the standard American diet, standard global diet, or high carb, mine was even a high carb healthy version, I was sick as a dog.
Mm-hmm.
I was so sick. And tired and just felt bad, looked bad, and now I feel great. So I know that I'm doing the best I can for my health right now, and I'm hopeful, obviously, that it will continue.
That is
But we'll see.
awesome. That is awesome. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your story. We do have a question here. Aries 66 wants to know, where at in the UK are you located?
Yeah, well, Aries 66, let me know in the comments. Let us know in the comments where you are. We like to know all the business and information. So I am in Wales. Now, if you're in America, there's Scotland, England, Ireland, and Wales, the United Kingdom. I'm not going to go into Ireland because it's split, but I live in the Welsh part, which is right next to England, where we take on the train, it's about 2 hours to London. It's a very beautiful part of the country, Wales. I live in the city part in Newport, which is near to the capital city of Wales, which is called Cardiff. And I'd love to know where you are located, Area 66, or anybody else who wants to tell us.
I know. Well, let's add that this show started at midnight in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes, Stephanie stayed up with us. We are so happy, and I'm really blessed to know your story. And the part that blesses me the most is to know that this way of eating is getting out beyond the borders. It's one thing, my husband and I are doing this, but then to find out, like maybe a neighbor, and then to find out, someone in the audience, and then to find out across the pond, as y'all would say.
Yeah.
That you guys are learning this, and it's working there as well. This is not just a U.S. Food crisis.
Right.
Everywhere, the food is actually harming us, and food can actually heal. Food is your friend if you're eating what you were meant to eat. I say we're the smartest, dumbest people I know.
Yes, you're so right. And let's just talk about the doctors, because people say, don't they, when we're my most controversial post on Facebook was when I put up a post saying words to the effect of, I used to eat porridge and think I was so healthy and didn't know that it was making me sicker and sicker. Well,
Yeah.
people were not happy that oats are not a health food.
Right.
They were not happy. And then people in the comments were saying things like, but you're not a doctor. Why are you talking about what's healthy and what's not? And so I said, well, look at this. If you go to your doctor for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, then he's going to cut off your hand, finger, toe, leg, foot, or she is going to amputate, right, for a type 2 diabetes complication. When when people join our, because I got so excited by this, like you women have, you know what I'm talking about. My sister and I started this thing, and then we started doing this thing called the 21-day primal body reset,
Nice.
to take people who've never heard of it, who get curious and think, do you know what, I'm going to try it out. They can now do it for 21 days, and we work alongside them. There's a WhatsApp group. We do the calls on Zoom. There's group calls, there's one-to-ones, everything to get them through it. But I said, and in that group, we've seen people reversing their blood sugars. One guy, oh, I wish I had the American figure, but he was 17 to 18 millimolars per liter fasting, which from memory is 300 and odd.
Wow.
Fasting morning blood sugar.
Wow.
And within the week, he came down to a normal blood sugar. Under 100, because it's physiological. When they come on television and they got 3 million degrees and hundreds of letters after their name and 50 years of experience, and then they say, what about this type 2 diabetes epidemic? I don't know what we should do. Well, even a 5-year-old can tell you, type 2 diabetes is chronic high blood sugar. When you reduce the blood sugar consistently through what you eat, you no longer have type 2 diabetes or the avalanche of chronic disease that you get afterwards. And it's so simple that I, as a lay person with no degrees behind, well, sorry, I've got normal degrees, no medical degrees behind my name, can help somebody to reverse it so they never get the type 2, the complications. Yet you want to talk to me about the doctor when there's no reversal happening.
Exactly. 100%. Like, the doctor is a medical doctor. I think G used to say this all the time. The doctor is, I mean, the job of the medical doctor is to provide medication.
Yeah.
No,
They
and
don't
better than that, his
you know,
license, he or she license says practicing medicine.
Yes.
That's on there. They're practicing on you. You go in and it's like, so something horrific happens to you that have you probably in the ER or anything like that. Then you go in, they're going to come in and try and figure this out. It's like being back in school, because if you have this symptom, what do you think that it is? And so they'll run some tests, and then they'll run tests that really don't need to be ran because it's a money thing. And then you have that, and then for some reason you still don't get better. There's no cure in this because it's not in a pill, it's not in a liquid, it's in what it is that you're eating.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. But what I was talking to someone today, and she said that my husband type 2 diabetic, and before I knew it, the words came out of my mouth. I said by choice. And she kind of looked. I said, yeah, he's choosing that. If you're type 2 diabetic, you went to the grocery store and you picked up diabetes, and you're choosing that for your life. So I don't have a whole lot of sympathy, because diabetes was not my thing, but I did know that you shouldn't eat a cake and you shouldn't eat a cookie and a pie. I might not have known you should not have eaten vegetables, because that turns into sugar as well. But I mean, I'm watching you, and you're doing this by choice.
Because the philosophy is, I can take this medication, and that medication allows me to eat what I want.
Yes.
It drives your insulin, it drives your blood sugars down. And so it allows you to be able to eat what you want, because you're keeping your blood sugar low by medication. And I see so many people who have this philosophy that, if I take my medication, I can eat what I want. It's just.
And to be fair, a lot of people are not told, because
Yeah.
some people do rely on their doctor. Because even
Mhm.
though I know what I know, I still do feel something when a doctor or medical person says to me, "You're doing the wrong thing, you're hurting your health, you're taking a risk," even though I know.
Yeah.
So when the doctors are saying, "Eat what you want and take this medication," people think, I know it sounds naive, maybe it's because what people want to believe, I'm doing the best I can for my health. This isn't my fault. It doesn't matter what I eat. Or they
Well, I
think they're
think that
eating healthy because they're eating all the healthy carbs.
right. And I think that a lot of doctors still don't know that this stuff is reversible. You know, it's
No, they
just
don't.
now starting to come out that type 2 diabetes is easily reversible.
Easily.
Not just reversible, but like easily reversible. And
Exactly.
in the control, you can take that control into your own hands to eliminate type 2 diabetes. But so many
Absolutely.
diseases are that way too, right? Where
Mm.
they're chronic, incurable. And
Absolutely.
basically, that's what the doctor is going to tell you, that it's chronic and incurable.
Well,
Exactly.
answer the second half of this. I actually thought it was a statement and then I saw a question mark. How do you nurture your positive mental health as well as your physical healing?
Well, this is a great question, Deborah. And I want to say hello to you. Let me know in the comments if you're keto or carnivore or what. I would love to know. And I find that the mind comes from the meat. So it was actually when you start eating the foods your body wants, it feels nourished.
Yes.
The anxiety calms with all the fat because it's nourishing your cells, is feeding into your brain, protecting your brain, is giving you this efficient energy that your brain runs off. Your whole body is getting excited by the meat. And that is like, again, the petrol for the petrol car. You're suddenly getting the right fuel and you are flying. And
Mhm.
that makes it easier to be happy. Everyone has got their own innate, level of happiness, should I say, or their ease of which they're going to be happy. But then we've got lots of environmental things. But the food thing, it helps your inner physiology to feel happy. And that helps your brain to feel happy. It helps your gut to be happy. It helps your whole body to be happy. So I think the first thing is when you start eating right, you feel right. And when you feel right, it's easier to be happy.
Right.
And I think the second part of it is that when you get threatened that something's going to get taken away from you, you make sure you enjoy that thing. So I might have been blasé and taking things for granted previous, but now that I know that, I could be on borrowed time, so to speak, I'm making sure to make the best of things, to have a good time while I'm here, y'all.
I
And
know that's
because
right.
in this country it's very cold in the winter, so we're already getting the dark and the cold. And I always wanted to retire abroad, maybe to Italy, which is much warmer than here, but it's not too far away, and it's got a lovely way of life. But
Yeah.
now I think don't be waiting till retirement, till what have you. And I thought I'm not in a position to leave immediately, but I've started to go, and I promised myself this year that I would spend a year in Italy or in the sun. And it came to last week, October. There's only 2 months to go. There's only a certain period that I can go because I've got some commitments. And
Mhm.
I I booked it last week,
Good
and
for you.
I'm going to Cyprus for a month. I
Oh,
booked a
that's
lovely
wonderful.
apartment and it's got a sun terrace. It was hard to find that. I had to go into every different listing on Airbnb because you can't search by terrace. But I knew that's the second thing that helps, not just the food, but the light, getting the
Yes.
sunshine in your eyes, getting outside or walking. You don't have to do any fancy exercise, but I find walking And I've
Mhm.
recently started going to the gym 1 day a week. And look, I even 1 day a week since the beginning of the year.
That's
It's
outstanding.
really, so that's my advice on happiness.
There you
That
go.
is awesome.
That's how it worked for me.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here with us tonight, Stephanie.
Yes.
This has been just so amazing. And I'm sure that we're going to see more of each other very, very soon.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I do want to just let G go ahead and wrap us up.
Yeah. First, tell people how they can reach you.
Yes, yes. I just saw George's comment, so thank you, George. Yes, and it's great to know you, and thank you for all of the comments. It's been great to meet you all and get to know you a little bit. I didn't see Aries 66. I see your mum's from Cardiff. How exciting! Is she still here? If you ever come back, you obviously have to come and see me. And where can people find me? I'm there at Happy Sexy Health with my channel. I would love to meet you there. Do subscribe. I would love to get to know you, maybe interview some of you. Obviously, you're going to have to join in queue after Robin and G are going to come on my channel as well. So thank you for having me here. It's been absolutely a delight to be here.
Thank you for staying up late for
What
us.
I was just going to say that. Thank you for staying up. Oh my gosh, this was beautiful. This was beautiful. All right, guys, we will see you next week. Look, same bat channel, same bat time. And I am so happy to be on in with you in the UK. Hey.
Yes.
There
All
you
right.
go.
Good night,
We're out of
everybody.
here, guys.